Hi, my name is Heather Kimber, and I could not be more excited that you landed here on a listing for one of the websites that we have for sale. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and what you can expect from a listing that we have, and if you purchase from us, what your experience will be. Um, I own Launch Technology Group. I started it about 20 years ago, and I have just had entrepreneurial blood running through my veins ever since I was little. For as long as I can remember, I've loved to build things and come up with ideas. And so I want to tell you a story of something that I experienced a few years ago. I decided that I wanted to purchase a software product. So I purchased a SaaS product. A SaaS stands for Software as a Service. I was a user of this product and actually really loved it. And the owner of the product sent out an email to all of the users and said that another product that he had was requiring more of his time, and he was wondering if anyone would be interested in purchasing it. So I sent him an email back and inquired about it, and we went back and forth a few times on via email, I and we came up with a price that worked out and terms to work out. And so I decided to move forward and purchase the SaaS product. So I then received an email from him that had a few logins, and I would log in, and I realized that I needed to find a developer so that I could change the code of the product to actually pay me instead of pay him. So as I scrambled for a couple of weeks to find and hire a programmer that knew the programming language of this SaaS product, um, I needed to make those changes quickly so that I could get paid instead of him. So as I went through this and took over, I just felt like I was making this change all by myself. It took several months for me to change the code from being paid from that company to my company, and just make sure all of the systems were now in my name instead of their name, so that I could talk to support and stuff like that. Um, the management of the software took several different systems. So I had the front end system and the back end system and the payment processing system and the support system. And so I was paying for several of these tools to help manage the back end of this SaaS product. And once I got it in place, it was awesome. It just took a lot of money each month for these several different systems to make it run. Um, so then I jumped in. I wanted to get a good feel of people's experience with the software. And so I jumped into taking care of the support. And I needed to build a support system and a support team to manage the SaaS product. That and as I started answering questions, super simple things were starting to break, and super simple tasks that were absolutely necessary for the SaaS product to work started not working. And I realized really quickly that the code was extremely outdated, as I was having a developer try and solve these problems and really just putting a band-aid on bigger issues. So a couple of months, maybe 6 or 9 months after I purchased the software, I realized that I needed to make a choice, and I had two choices. One, I could rewrite the software from the ground up using the developer that I found, and he was confident that he could do that. It was just going to take a ton of time and a ton of money. Or I could close down the SaaS product um, and just chalk it up to a very good learning experience, a very expensive learning experience. And I made the decision to rewrite the code. And I worked with a couple of people to rewrite this code and test the code, and then go back and rewrite the code again and test the code to make sure that it was really solid and a really, really great product. We made a ton of improvements and made it extremely stable. But it took 3 years for us to, from the time that I purchased the software to when we were up and running. And I realized then that my expectations were not aligned with the buyer and the seller. Me as the buyer and the other company as the seller, we weren't lined up with what the expectation was going to be. And as I've built and worked with people, I made a promise to myself that when I sell websites, that it would be a completely different experience. I would build on a platform that the transition from our ownership to your ownership would be incredibly easy and incredibly seamless. It would not take finding a developer in a couple of months to change out the code so that you would get paid instead of me. I wanted to make sure that all of the systems were under one tool, so you didn't have multiple payments and multiple systems to manage if you bought a website from us. And so I promise you that your experience from the handoff and my support to making the business profitable and running in your name and running smoothly would be super simple, super effective, and I'd be there to answer your questions along the way. So I'm so excited that you're here to check out our listing. There's a button below that will take you to an NDA. So sign the non-disclosure agreement, a really quick signature, and then you'll be sent to the details of the site, and it'll lay out, there will be a downloadable PDF with a whole bunch of details about the site. There will be a video walkthrough of the site. We'll walk through the front end of the site as well as logging into the back end system and showing the back end of the site and seeing what that looks like and what needs to happen. And also I'll talk about what my expectations of how to move the site forward, what is needed to move the site forward and make it profitable. I certainly can't guarantee, because I don't know your work ethic and what your circumstance is, but we absolutely build a rock solid website with an absolute direct plan to monetize and be profitable as quickly as possible. So click the button below. It's going to take you to that NDA, sign it really quickly, and then go over to the page that gives you complete details about the website and all of the information. And it sets up a time for you to talk or make an offer. So however we're here to help, and we'll walk you through and hold your hand until everything's set up for you. So thanks so much. Click the button below and check out our listing.